Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, what are the types of borderline personality disorder? If you find this video to be interesting or helpful, please like it and subscribe to my channel. That way you won't miss anything new. Now, when we talk about borderline personality disorder, we're talking about a personality disorder in cluster B of the personality disorders in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. This is the dramatic erratic cluster. Now, in the DSM, there are no subtypes listed for borderline personality disorder, but we do see that in the literature, there are a number of theories about possible subtypes of this disorder. Now, I'm going to review a few of the lesser known theories and then move to some of the more popular theories. So we see that in a 2005 paper, there were 4 different subtypes identified: high-functioning internalizing, histrionic, depressive internalizing, and angry externalizing. In 2008, we saw 2 papers that had subtypes listed, including one that had 3, which was avoidant obsessive compulsive, paranoid schizotypal, and histrionic narcissistic, and another 2008 paper that also had 3, high-functioning, aggressive-nonparanoid, and non-aggressive paranoid. So that is more or less the opposite of the aggressive-nonparanoid. Now, in 2012, we saw a paper by Hallquist and colleague that has one of the models that I like the most. This paper had 4 subtypes: prototypical, poor identity, low anger, angry mistrustful, and angry aggressive. Now, this angry aggressive subtype, other than of course having more anger and aggression associated with it, also saw an increase with the frantic efforts to avoid abandonment, identity disturbance, and traits from antisocial personality disorder. One thing I really like about this 2012 study was they really went beyond the DSM criteria to model out these different subtypes. Now, of course, with all these different theories about subtypes that I've mentioned from different articles, the most popular subtype example is from Millon. And here we see 4 subtypes: discouraged, impulsive, petulant, and self-destructive. Now, taking a look at these one by one, the discouraged subtype has a few different characteristics associated with it. Individuals that fall in this subtype would be more likely to have traits from dependent personality disorder or avoidant personality disorder, or possibly both. There is a characteristic here to have more internalizing behavior as opposed to externalizing. Individuals in this subtype are usually not assertive, tend to be passive. There are a lot of somatic complaints associated with this subtype, as well as paranoia, anger that runs just below the surface, so the anger could be explosive but it wouldn't be constant, and depression is fairly common in this subtype. Looking at the impulsive subtype, as noted by the name of the subtype, there is an increase in impulsive behavior, and this tends to be closely associated with histrionic personality disorder. So we see a lot of attention seeking, high sensation seeking, dramatic behavior, and also a tendency to be manipulative. With the petulant subtype, we see characteristics like being irritable, defiant, stubborn, impatient, complaining, being unpredictable, having explosive anger that we would think of as being more constant, and also being possessive and jealous. And that leaves us with the last subtype, which is self-destructive, and this one, of course, has a lot of self-harm behavior associated with it, but of course the other subtypes have self-harm associated with them as well. But what we see with self-destructive is it's more intense, there's a self-hatred, and this subtype is characterized by mood swings. So as you can see, there are a lot of different theories about what types of subtypes may exist with borderline personality disorder, and some of them are fairly similar. We see a lot of the same terms used in a lot of these different models, like the word histrionic and internalizing and paranoid. So a lot of the terms overlap, but it's not really clear that we have one model that is superior. A lot of different models and a lot of different theories, and you really just have to look at the individual papers and decide which theory, or perhaps there's a combination of theories, that makes sense to you. Now, the diagnosis of borderline personality disorder, as I mentioned, is in the DSM. So one of the questions I get sometimes is, do we even need subtypes? Well, with all the different personality disorders, and really all mental disorders, it's important that we keep up with research on possible subtypes. Sometimes, of course, this research ends up in a result where we have subtypes that are officially adopted, But either way, these subtypes inform treatment, and they help a clinician to better understand what may be associated with certain characteristics they observe in session. So subtypes are more than just interesting, they are important and potentially helpful in treatment. I hope you found this description of borderline personality disorder subtypes to be interesting. Thanks for watching.